Today we're talking all about tips and tricks for how to set up portable church successfully.
Welcome to another episode of the Ministry Coach Podcast, where we bring you weekly tips and tactics to help you fast track the growth and health of your youth ministry. We try and deliver as many practical examples and practical tips that we can, so that it's not just all theory, but also things that you can walk away with and say, I can actually implement this into my youth ministry right away.
Yeah, and today will be that on steroids because I have so many Amazon links for you. You could go and buy this kind of stuff that we're talking about today and get a start on your room, because we're talking about, what's your name?
I have no idea. Who am I? We're talking all about portable church today. My name is Jeff Lascola. This is
Kristen Lascola.
Yeah, so for those of you, and this was us for many years, where your church is renting out a school or just a building of some sorts where they're not using it on the weekend, and so you're able to take it over on Sundays or even a Saturday night, and you have to kind of bring everything in and then take everything with you when you leave. So
yeah, it's not ideal, and it can be discouraging because you sort of feel like you don't get to have ownership of your room or make it exactly what you wanted. The paint, like my walls in the room we rented were purple and teal and whatever, and we made it work for us. Yeah. We matched some of our logo stuff to it to make it more cohesive. So, you know, there are things that you can do to kind of join in with the room a little bit. So yeah, our situation was we rented out a high school auditorium for our main service, and then all the students in children's classrooms were different high school rooms. So I had the dance room. High school had this like
the
weird cafeteria area. It was strange. And then we had transformed the children's rooms. They were like math rooms and history rooms, and we just had to transform them every week. Mm-hmm. So if you find yourself in that situation where you are renting space right now, I have a few categories that we're going to go over to help you organize your room in a practical way that makes sense for, it's not going to be like it would be if you had it, obviously, but we're going to do our best to make it the best we can. And I rented space at least 10 years. Yeah. We were in there for a really long time. So here's the first category that I'm going to talk to you about, because to me, it kind of felt like the most important was tech, because you can't really do a whole lot without tech. And that I feel like makes it all of a sudden feel like a legitimate space, not just a classroom kind of thing. And I think one of the hard things, especially if you find yourself at a school, we're a one high school town. So our kids that go to that school all week.
Right, here I am again.
Yes, all of a sudden had to be there on the weekends.
This is the cafeteria. I recognize this.
For church. And so it was just like, so I feel like tech automatically kind of makes it feel different. Like, this is something like production quality. I don't know.
Right.
But anyways, okay. So the first thing, you need a 6-foot folding table. So that's super easy, just one of those plastic, like they're at every church table. So that's your tech table. On that table, you need a portable projector. So hopefully, I don't think they're that expensive anymore.
They've gone way down in price, but they can still be pricey. I think if you see yourself in portable church, portable ministry for a while, it's good to invest in
right.
that.
I had one stolen one time.
Yeah.
Right out of my office. So make sure you keep an eye on those portable speakers. I got a replacement. It was a much smaller one, but
portable projectors.
Yeah, I said speaker. Obviously, you need your laptop, and then you need your portable amp with a mic. And hopefully that thing has Bluetooth capability also. And then one thing that we'll link it in the show notes is portable stage lights. And this is something I wish I had learned earlier, because for the longest time it was like, all the fluorescents on or all the fluorescents off, because I'm not gonna bring in market lights and string them like I have in my room now. But you think about any DJ who goes to a wedding or anything like that, they bring in lights. And so there is this 4-pack on Amazon of like stage event kind of lights that are on a remote control. They're super affordable and they change color. And so this is mostly if you plan on doing worship in your room, but even if you don't, like, it could be a cool ambiance
for games too.
Yeah, games or like the message, or I don't know, just to change it up a little bit to create more of a mood.
Yeah, because those fluorescents are really stark white. I mean.
They're just very classroomy.
Yeah.
And so this is a great option, and they're very easy to set up. They're small, they're portable, they're fantastic. Obviously, you're going to need a portable projector screen. So I also have one from Amazon that is nice and big. It comes with a stand. It's, I think, the perfect size for like a classroom. My room was kind of big. We were in a dance room, and I think this still would have been great for that. So I think that question of if you're doing worship in your room, that would say like, okay, well, do we need a mini soundboard? Do we need a guitar amp? All of that kind of stuff. So if you're planning on doing worship in your room, you'd obviously need to adjust this list a little bit. I did both. So for a while, we would go into the main auditorium for worship and join the adults. And then once that was over, we'd come back into our classroom. And then there was a season where we were doing our own worship in our room. So that changed what we needed. We ended up getting a lot more techie after that. And luckily I had a great tech guy and worship guy who they figured out my whole list and setup and what I needed for that. But I would think at the very least you need a guitar amp, the cables, and then a cajon. Like, you don't need a whole drum kit or anything like that to set it all up. That would be for sure overkill in a small space. But if you have a cajon and someone that knows how to play it, like, you have a band. And so for your stage area, to kind of designate what is the stage, just get a rug. I'm sure you've seen that done millions of times. I think it looks great. You just roll it up, roll it out, easy. Some more stage aesthetics. Well, music stand, obviously. Make sure you have it. That would drive me crazy if we did not have a music stand in our room for notes and stuff like that. And then to warm it up a little bit, we linked a faux, like, fiddly fig kind of tree.
They said fiddly. Little fiddly fig.
A little fiddly fig.
Fiddle leaf fig. Which,
yeah.
And there's one right there behind us.
That one's real, guys.
Yeah, that all of a sudden,
sapling,
out of nowhere, became a popular plant, and I'd never even heard of them before.
Isn't it weird how plants can be so trendy? It's like
cactus,
succulents, cactus, fiddle leaf. Like, what's going to be the next trendy plant? Oh, I know. Those
hopefully weeds, because we have a ton of those in the yard.
Those reeds that grow in the river, they're all like puffy. I forget what
they look like
called.
Hot dogs on a stick, like those ones.
No, the feathery ones. We have some because we're trendy.
You're trendy. I'm not trendy.
Whatever. So some of those would be great. Some of those feathery reeds. I bought some on Etsy. They're super cheap. So you could warm up the stage with the tree, and then some of those like floor lamps that are just bulbs. I linked some of those below too. The tricky thing with those, and we'll get into storage in a minute, those could be tricky to store. So you might want to just nix those and go with the small stage lights that we just talked about. Yeah,
because everything where you're mentioning is stuff that you have to not only set up, but tear down and then store.
Yes, and we'll talk about that.
Okay.
So pause. All right. So... And then one thing that I always liked to do in the past to create a personal touch, because we couldn't really have our own stuff, our own style as much. And so I didn't want to set up a bunch of pictures and banners. So I would just loop pictures on ProPresenter or whatever of our most recent event, of our most recent camp. And so it was like pictures were there, but they were all digital, and I would change them from time to time if we had just done something. So that's one way to personalize it. And kids really did enjoy that pre-show. They would just sit there and watch it loop and wait for them.
It's almost
to
like a
come on the
countdown
screen.
video, but with your own kids in it.
And you can mix like announcement slides in there, you know, like don't forget to sign up for the all-nighter or something like that. And so then the other area, so you have your tech and your stage. We went over that. And then you want an information table area. So that's another 6-foot table. And on that, you just have your basic info stuff. You have attendance cards or check-in, however you do it. Your calendar, flyers. I like to have my whiteboard with my classic would you rather. I do a would you rather question every Sunday. And it's kind of fun now. Like our facilities guys all come in and check out the question and they sign their name. Our high school pastor, his new thing is he closes his eyes. He doesn't read the questions and then he picks the side and then he tries to make a case for it, you know? And so that's fun. And then like donuts or, you know, whatever. So that's kind of your like front thing right when people walk in. Make sure you have that. So then let's talk about entertainment. So what can you play in your room? Because that was something that was hard for me too. Because I was like, well, here we are, guys, want to chat for, you know, and kids want to do something and you can connect more over doing stuff, but it's hard in your room. So I actually got a flat screen that we would put back in the box and pad it with its styrofoam that it came in from Costco every single week.
Yeah.
You plug it in, you plug in a Wii or an Xbox, and all of a sudden you have video games. It's actually not that hard. It's the storage.
Right.
And again, we'll talk about that. Or there's a super fun game called Clask.
I've seen that.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay, so Clask, we'll link it below. It's small, which I love that about it. It's kind of like a mix between foosball and air hockey, you know? And
with
it's
like magnets or something?
Yeah, it's like these little hockey sticks, but it's magnetized, and so you're controlling it from underneath the game board. So something like that. So they also make like tabletop air hockey, tabletop ping pong. I don't know how good of quality those are because I've never used like a mini one like that. But Clask and a video game, and then if you're able to right outside your room do a 4-square thing. I was lucky because we had an exterior door. So it was like we were in the building, but we had one door that led out to the parking lot. And so we could play like 4-square something out there. But if your room, like if you could just tape it off in the morning and pull up the tape before you leave, you could play 4-square in your room. If it's not like, no, it's too small. There's some classrooms that would be too small for that. But
painter's tape is usually pretty safe.
It is. Yeah, that
pulls
blue
off
stuff
of everything.
But yeah, if the kids are gonna like break stuff in the classroom. So yeah, so just kind of figure out between the video games, Clask, maybe some of those other kinds of games, what you can reasonably put in your room that is like the entertainment aspect. So let's talk about storage then, because this is the trickiest part. Here's the best case scenario. And we did this at the high school that we rented space from. We asked them, is there an area where we could put a storage container on this campus and keep our stuff in it? And they said yes. I'm sure we had to pay them to keep it there, or maybe they were
Technically, we were paying them every week. Maybe that was enough.
Maybe it was. I don't know, but they let us. We brought in a storage container, and it was
kind of forgot about
right
that.
outside. It was like kind of right outside my room, and so all the big stuff just went right in there. So like the TVs, the video games, the amps, the soundboard stuff, everything that we only use on Sunday. We put it in nice bins to protect it, and then we just put it in the storage container. So see if the place that you're renting will let you keep stuff there. Maybe if they're not like, maybe it's not a storage container, but maybe they have some unutilized space like a closet or a classroom or a janitor, something. If you could find a place where you can store stuff on site, even for a cost, it's totally worth it. And then I would buy bins that I would just load in my car. And that was for the stuff that I did need every week. So that would be like my candy and I need my candy.
Of all things to start with,
I know.
I'm thinking laptop, your
yeah.
notes or something. Candy. I need
my
candy
bin, because it's very important. I can't do anything without it. So yeah, I'd load up my candy bin, my laptop, my flyers, the stuff that I wanted to then put out at my midweek program.
Because our church had an office, physical office and youth room space for our midweek. It was really weird.
Yeah.
But it was not big enough to hold Sunday church.
Right.
So we had to do that at high school. But what do most people do for midweeks?
Oh, some people do rent space at schools and stuff for midweeks. I used a community center for a while.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And then we found like an industrial building that we rented and our offices were attached to that. So I'm very well versed in portable church. So I would just have my little green bin that had all my stuff that I always needed. And then everything else stayed in that storage container. And that worked really, really well. So yeah, those are kind of like the basics. And then one other thing, sometimes you want to shrink the room. Sometimes you want to just hide the room. Mm-hmm. And the best tactic for that is something, maybe you've heard of it. If you're in church, this is a thing, pipe and drape. And we'll link it below so you can see an example. So basically it's these metal stands and it's this big pipe that comes up and then a bar that goes across and you hang a curtain. But what we did, and so what that basically does is hides the room. So it doesn't feel like you're in a classroom when it's all like, because we'd come in and be like all these like Declaration of Independence, like on the side of the room. It's like,
or cafeteria lines.
Yeah. And so if you put up the pipe and drape, you kind of create a room within a room almost. But it comes standard with just like black curtains. And for the first couple of years, that's what we did. It was just black curtains. But then we were like, aha, we measured it and ordered vinyl banners that fit there and that actually had our logo on it. So remember when I said our room was like teal and purple and pink, whatever. It was this dance room. So I ordered a logo that said chaos on it with all these like paint splotches that were pink and teal and whatever and black. So it was on vinyl and we'd roll it up and then on Sunday mornings, put up the pipe and drape and hang the banners. And they were huge. They were like one big continuous thing. And so all of a sudden it was like this room within a room. And I've seen it done with like different curtains, like colored curtains. I think the vinyl banners look so much better. Like our 4th and 5th grade room, it used to be like video game themed. Yep. It was called like Level 45 or something. And they had like all this like Mario stuff and their logo. It was so cool. And it was so colorful. Or like the children's, it was like roller coaster themed. It was like Coast Kids. And so they had their banners were all like bright and looked like a theme park. And it was so cool. And it just was like one piece that I feel like just went really far, like to just feel more personal, and it wasn't like you had to set up a bunch of different stuff.
Right. And those rooms sometimes too, you guys probably know, there's a lot of stuff you have to end up hiding. Like if it's a classroom, you probably have 20, 30 desks that can't maybe be right there. If you need the space, you're putting them all on the side. And so the drapes will hide, all that mess
so we would do like push all the desks to the side and actually have to like stack them on top of each other, like to create space. I forgot about that because we didn't have desks in our room. But like we would have to move everything out of the way. And so speaking of that, one thing too to keep in mind is no matter how good you leave the place or think you leave the place, there's going to be something that you miss, something that a kid did that you didn't see. And so what we would do is kind of strategize of how to keep a good relationship with the school and with the teachers specifically, because the school kept reminding us these teachers don't own these classrooms.
Right.
So we do. You're paying us whatever, because some teachers would give major attitude, like, which I get. Right. I know
you show up on Monday and it's like, why are there donuts shoved in my desk?
Like, yes, it's not. It is your space, but it's not. And I get that. I'd feel the same way. So from time to time, we do little teacher appreciation gifts that we leave in their room. Coffee gift cards, like school supplies, little baskets.
To cushion that blow.
Exactly, because we know there's going to be a cost involved with us being there. And we wanted to keep them happy. Not that they had the power to kick us out, but just to kind of be like a good neighbor. You know what I mean?
Well, also, they're probably going to be the ones who are going to tell the school what was wrong. And if you're in their good graces, then they're not going to maybe tattle on every single thing. But it's like, if they don't like you, they're going to be complaining probably every week. And the school might finally say, this isn't worth it.
The good news is we are paying the school. So they do have an incentive to want to keep us. Right. But you're right. Like, if it's just either way, they want to keep it. Yeah. Kosher. So yeah, that's how to do portable church. If you're in that position, I know it's hard. Yeah. I can empathize. It is tricky and it's hard to grow like that. So be gentle on yourself with your numbers, because I do ministry the same way. I've always done it for the most part. And when we got into a permanent building, our numbers blew up. And it wasn't because, so if you're looking and comparing yourself to a church down the street who has a permanent facility and they're blowing up and you wonder what you're doing wrong, just know, like, it's sometimes a hard sell and it's nothing you're doing wrong, but it's just hopefully a season, and pray that you guys get a building. We had to wait a really, really long time. Like I said, probably like more than 10 years, maybe probably like 12 years we were in there.
Because you're asking, maybe the students don't care quite as much, but you're asking parents like, hey, come to our church. It seems like such a fly by night. It's like, wait, where are you located?
Right.
You know where the high school is? Yeah.
Well, then it's hard to invite people too, because families might love it, but then to invite their friends and whatever, it just is odd.
And when you have the multi-site, like, well, Sundays is at the high school, but you know, Wednesdays.
You could drive 15 more minutes and you can go to our main campus.
No. Sorry, I didn't mean multiple campuses. I meant like Sundays we meet at the high school. Wednesdays we meet at the community center.
Like different
and
places.
It's hard. Where are your offices? Oh, those are actually on Main Street. You know, it's like oh
so
my
disjointed.
Yeah.
I know, and it was so hard to invite people.
But hopefully, if you know, like it's a season and there is an end in mind, that can kind of push you through that.
For sure.
Hopefully. And not only being gentle, like you said, being gentle on yourself, but be gentle with your equipment and the stuff that you are lugging from one place to another, because that can take a beating.
For sure. Especially, that's why finding a way to keep it permanently there is just so much better, because it's a lot less wear and tear, unless you need that stuff for your midweek. Because there was a time where I needed the projector for my midweek and Sunday, and I don't get two projectors, so I would have to tote my projector in my car, and stay in the hot sun, and I just had no choice. Yeah,
so we feel for you if you're in that season. We will be praying for you in that season, because there is a lot of extra weight involved in ministry when you're having to do it, set up, tear down every single week, multiple times a week. So now we're going to do question of the day, which is, what is a phrase that you have never understood?
You know mine.
I know yours.
I don't think people really say this anymore, but you hear it on TV or old shows. Like if someone says, believe you me, like if they're trying to, I don't know. What would be a good example?
I don't know, because I don't understand it either.
The stock market is up 800 million points. Are you serious? Believe you me. What?
It would make, in my mind, it would make more sense if you said, believe me, you. You know, like if I was talking to you.
Right.
Hey, believe me, you. That's the only way. But believe you, me. It's backwards.
Maybe it's like, believe you. Who? Me.
I don't think so. Somehow it just caught on.
Believe you.
Me.
I don't know. It's just confusing.
Mine is and how, which I feel like is almost used in the same way that one is, because it's like the stock market's way up. And how? It's like, what does that mean?
How is the stock market up? Maybe it's
I've never understood that.
No, I don't either. I think they're all kind of from the 40s, see? And it's just people used to know, and
the gangsters, the mafia came up with a whole bunch of phrases. Maybe they meant something to them and we just all adopted it and it means nothing to us.
Do you have a review?
How? I do have a review.
Does
that mean you're sick of this topic?
Well, no.
All right, this is a review from our YouTube channel. I don't remember which episode this is from. I should probably write that down. But anyways, this is from Matthew Bradley, who says, love the vids. I've been in full-time student ministry now just under a year. Been a lot of learning and figuring things out. Thanks for putting out great content that is helpful and entertaining. Well, thank you, Matthew. We try our best.
Matthew Bradley.
Try to have fun. I feel like we have a lot of fun here.
Those were kind words. We do have fun. Sometimes I feel like we're just talking and I forget we're filming. And how?
And how? Believe you me. Well, thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Believe you me. And how?
Oh.
We'll see you next time.